I went to a skate park today to practice sports videography. It was a lot of fun, and I picked up some new skills that I'm looking forward to playing with more. Let me tell you a little bit about what I learned. Most of my experience so far has been with filming teaching videos or calm B-roll sequences, so this was completely different. It's much more of a fast-paced style, and it's kind of a run-and-gun thing where you don't really have time to set up your shots, and you kind of just have to figure out what you can get while you're there and see if you can get enough footage to make a film out of it later. So it was really something different for me, and that really brought me out of my comfort zone. The camera I was using for this was my Panasonic GX85, although you will see some shots from my friend's Fuji X-T3. And the lens I was using was the 45-150 lens. Now that's an interesting lens. So that 45-150 is, really almost a kit lens. It actually came with my camera. And so it's not especially great. I think you can buy it for about $200 new, and it's somewhat slow. It actually only opens up to f5.6 if you have it zoomed all the way in. But it was actually a great choice for this application. I often found myself shooting at an f-stop of more like f8 or f9 because I needed to be able to keep more of the frame in focus so that as action was happening closer or farther away from me, I could be sure that I wouldn't miss something and have, an out of focus shot. So the slower aperture really didn't bother me that much. And it was really nice to be able to punch in and get some of those really close-up shots that, really capture some of those closer details and get, a visually interesting shot that's not just really far away. So I think that's kind of one lesson I've learned, is that having a long lens is really good for this type of videography. This is sports, and you can't always expect to just be able to run right into the action, and I couldn't very well go stand right in the middle of the skate park while I was filming this stuff, and so it was kind of nice to be able to stand off to the side and just punch in with my lens to capture whatever I wanted to capture. So that worked out really well. Another thing I learned is that it's really important to be able to anticipate the action. So, when you're filming at the skate park, things are happening fast, people are moving around, and I had to kind of learn how to look at the scene and figure out where people were going to go, and maybe if somebody was setting up for a trick, how could I position myself to capture that moment? It happens very fast, and you don't have a lot of time to set up, so anything that you can do to sort of plan ahead and figure out where something's going to be happening is going to be really helpful. So understanding the sport a little bit to figure out where on the field the action's happening, I think is a really useful skill for this. I was often finding myself trying to follow certain characters and maybe watch the same person as they set up for a trick and have that moment of uncertainty where they're trying to psych themselves up to do it, and then follow through and actually do something cool. And it was really neat to try and capture all those moments so that I could turn it into a cohesive story later and make it into something that people would want to watch. I also learned that it's useful to walk around and try to capture some different angles. So if you stand in the same spot all the time, all of your shots are kind of going to look the same, and it's going to be hard to make a full movie out of that because everything's just going to be from the same perspective and it looks like the same shot over and over. You may not always have a choice in that, so maybe you have a specific area you're supposed to stand in, but if you do have the option, I definitely think it's a good idea to move around and capture different angles. If you're lucky enough to have another person with you filming, then that really helps because you can get the same action from two different spots. But even if you don't have that, just taking a moment to walk to another spot and capture some different angles will really help make that footage more interesting later. So I only moved around a couple of times during this, but I was really appreciative of the times I did because it helped me capture a more interesting set of shots. And another thing I did that was helpful was capture some B-roll of non-action shots. So I was kind of, watching people, do these tricks and run around and do some really cool stuff. But I also tried to capture just some shots of like a bike or a skateboard laying on the ground, or maybe someone just standing there taking a rest after running around for a while. And that actually, I think, really helped make this more interesting, and it gave the viewer a moment to rest as well. So if you're watching a video and it's just action over and over and over, then you don't really have a chance to look away. You don't have a moment to relax your attention. And so I think that makes it harder to stay focused throughout an entire video. And so having some slower moments, I think, really can add to it, and it gives more impact to the action moments because it's not just constant action the whole time. So like I said, I learned a lot from this, and I think that it was really useful for me to go out and try something that I don't normally do. Now, I'm not really a sports videographer, and I don't think this is something I'm going to be doing every day, but even still, I think that these skills are something that are going to apply to every film I make from now on, and every time I pull my camera out to take some videos, I think this stuff applies, and I think I did learn some useful stuff. So I guess that'd be my advice to you is, get out of your comfort zone and try something new. And, just go out into an environment and try to pick up some new skills and, experience a new way of doing things. And I think it's actually really helpful in terms of, just exposing you to more of the videography world and helping you kind of see, different ways of doing things. And I think to close this out, let's just watch some more of the action because, it's a skate park and it was pretty cool.